Welcome, dear dreamer, to another soft and wandering tale. Tonight, let your thoughts drift like grains of sand carried on a warm desert breeze. Let your breathing slow, gentle, and steady as the world around you loosens its hold and the quiet of evening settles softly across your mind. Tonight's story comes from old places, whispered through centuries, carried by caravan winds and starlit nights. It is a tale of hidden caves and desert moons, of clever hearts and quiet courage, and of how even in the vastness of the world, small kindnesses and wise choices can shape a life. Tonight, dear dreamer, we step into the world of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, told in a voice soft enough to lull the mind and slow enough to welcome sleep. Before our story begins, picture a land where the days stretch wide and golden under a shimmering sun, and the nights sweep cool and blue beneath skies so open they feel like oceans made of stars. Imagine the warm scent of dates drying in baskets, the murmur of merchants closing their stalls, and the hush that settles over the desert town as lanterns glow softly behind carved wooden doorways. There, in a quiet corner of this gentle, time-worn place, sits a town small enough that everyone knows the rhythm of each day by heart. That rhythm is unhurried, flowing like the slow drift of sand dunes. The baker kneads his dough at dawn, pressing patterns into soft rounds of bread. The potter turns his wheel, shaping clay with careful hands. Children chase one another through narrow alleys until their laughter fades into the warm twilight. And beyond the edge of this town, where the desert stretches wide and open, lives a humble woodcutter named Ali Baba. But before we meet him fully, linger a moment longer here at the beginning, in this soft and shimmering space. Let the atmosphere settle around you like a warm blanket. Imagine the desert air, cooling with the falling sun, brushing gently over your skin. Hear the distant call of a night bird, the soft rustle of palm leaves swaying, the endless whisper of sand shifting in the dunes. This story, like the desert itself, does not rush. It unfolds the way night blossoms across the sky, one star at a time, patient and luminous. Dear dreamer, allow your body to grow still. Let your shoulders soften, your breath deepen, your thoughts drift outward like footprints slowly being erased by the breeze. Tonight's tale is an old one, but we will walk through it gently. Our story begins on a quiet morning in a place of sun-baked earth and winding footpaths where life moves in soothing rhythms. In this small town lived two brothers, Ali Baba and Qasim. Qasim, the elder, had found comfort and wealth through marriage, living in a spacious home filled with carved furniture and silks from distant lands. His life was full, bustling with activity, shaped by ambition and desire. Ali Baba, however, chose a humbler path. He lived simply, in a modest home on the outskirts of town where the clay walls held warmth in winter and coolness in summer. He rose each dawn with steady purpose, gathering his tools and walking toward the hills to cut wood for the market. His days were marked not by riches or ownership, but by the quiet satisfaction of honest work. And yet, despite the difference between their lives, there was no bitterness in Ali Baba. He carried in him a gentle contentment, like a small lantern glowing softly through each day. He had enough to live, enough to give, and enough to greet each sunrise without complaint. In the mornings, when he stepped out into the pale desert light, he would pause for a heartbeat and breathe in the quiet. The town behind him would still be waking, roosters crowing, pots clinking, doors creaking open. Before him stretched calm, open land. Dusty paths winding toward distant hills, scattered stones catching the sun, and the soft hum of the desert stirring with life. This calm desert, dear dreamer, is where our tale first begins to shift, but not yet. For sleep stories like this are meant to guide you gently, slowly, allowing the world to grow familiar before anything unusual takes place. Imagine Ali Baba walking barefoot through the cool morning sand, tools slung over his shoulder. The sky above him glows with soft rose hues as dawn unfolds across the horizon. His footsteps leave a winding pattern behind him, soon to be softened by wind. Ahead, the land rises in gentle slopes dotted with low shrubs and clusters of rocks, warmed by the coming sun. Ali Baba's heart beat in easy rhythm with the land itself. He hummed sometimes, low and tuneless, just a soft sound to accompany the whisper of wind. Every now and then, he paused to watch a desert lark flutter up from a bush, or to admire a lone camel wandering across the plain, its shadow long and slow-moving in the early light. Days passed like this, quiet, predictable, unhurried. But desert lives, no matter how simple, sometimes cross paths with secrets buried deep in shadow and stone. Some secrets wait centuries for the right moment to be found. Some wait for the right heart. And so it was with Ali Baba. He would discover something remarkable, something that shimmered with both wonder and danger, though we will speak of danger softly and at a distance, as befits a bedtime tale. For now, the desert is calm, the air is warm, and the world is preparing to reveal one of its oldest whispers. Our story will soon follow Ali Baba into the hills where sunlight glints across hidden stones and old magic lingers like a forgotten breath. But before we take that step, settle yourself once more, dear dreamer. Let the pace of this tale slow your thoughts. Let your breathing steady, deep and gentle. Feel the ground beneath this story growing firm and familiar. In a moment, we will continue on the path with Ali Baba, where curiosity meets destiny in a soft, shimmering corner of the world. But for now, rest in the quiet beginning of this tale, letting it settle like dust in the still desert air. Morning in the desert arrives not with haste, but with a slow unfurling, as though the sky itself stretches awake after a long, peaceful slumber. Light drifts over the dunes in soft waves, painting the world in pale gold and rose. In Ali Baba's quiet town, the day begins with a gentle stirring, doors creaking open, voices murmuring greetings, pots clinking faintly as hearth fires come alive. Ali Baba, as he did most mornings, stepped outside just as the breeze carried the warmth of dawn across the horizon. His home stood near the edge of town, where the desert and the village met in a gradual fade of sand into stone. It was a place where he felt the world breathe, slow, steady, untroubled. He paused on his threshold, lifting his gaze to the soft glow spreading upward across the sky. The world felt calm, as though suspended in a moment of patient stillness. A single palm tree near his doorway swayed gently, its fronds whispering secrets only the wind knew. Ali Baba took in a deep breath, filling his lungs with the cool morning air, faintly scented with earth and dry grasses. His days always began this way, in quiet reflection, letting his thoughts settle before he started his work. There was something comforting about rhythm, knowing what the day would ask of him and how he would meet it. He gathered his tools, worn smooth from years of use, and tied a cloth around his waist to keep the desert dust at bay. His donkey, an aging but loyal creature named Nami, waited patiently near the gate. Nami blinked slow, contented blinks, as if she too appreciated the unhurried start of each new day. "Another day, my friend," Ali Baba murmured, patting her gently between the ears. She flicked her tail in response, her version of agreement. Together they began the walk toward the hills beyond the town. The path they followed was narrow and winding, carved gradually by footsteps and hooves over generations. As they walked, the landscape shifted delicately around them. The sand lay cool beneath the early sun, marked by the tracks of small night creatures returning to their burrows. Sparse shrubs dotted the terrain, some holding on to a few blossoms despite the dry season, their petals pale and thin as parchment. Ali Baba's mind wandered as he walked, but not in the restless way of those who seek something beyond. His wandering thoughts were soft, drifting like clouds, touching memories and hopes with no urgency. He thought of the market he would visit later in the day, of the baker who always saved him the ends of the warm loaves, of the cheerful bustle of merchants arranging their goods. He thought of Kasim, his brother, whose life had diverged from his own long ago. Kasim's home sat near the center of town, where wealth gathered like cool shade in summer. Marble tiles lined his courtyard, and silks from distant lands draped his halls. Kasim had married into fortunes Ali Baba could scarcely imagine, and yet, when they met, Ali Baba always saw a flicker of longing in his brother's eyes, a longing not for more wealth, but for the quiet simplicity Ali Baba carried without effort. Ali Baba wondered sometimes if Kasim envied his peace, and he wondered, too, how two brothers raised under the same roof could travel such different paths, yet he felt no bitterness. Life, he believed, offered each person what they needed, not always what they asked for. Nami's hooves thumped lightly against the earth, pulling him back from his thoughts. The rhythmic sound was soothing, like a heartbeat steadying itself. Ali Baba smiled, adjusting the bundle of tools over his shoulder. The journey toward the hills took some time, but the pace never troubled him. Desert mornings stretched wide, leaving generous space between moments. As he walked, he noticed how the sun glimmered off stones scattered along the path, how shadows shortened and softened as the day warmed. A small lizard scurried across the sand and paused on a rock, tilting its head toward him as if in greeting. When Ali Baba reached the base of the hills, he paused once more, taking in the view before him. The hills were not large, but they held a quiet majesty, rising gently in layers of dusty red and faded gold. Scattered scrub trees dotted their slopes, and the air here carried a faint woody fragrance. This was a familiar land, a place he knew as well as the lines of his own hands. He led Nami to a shaded spot beside a small cluster of rocks, unfastened her lead rope, and filled her trough with water. She lowered her head and drank, the sound of her soft slurps echoing faintly in the stillness. Ali Baba moved a short distance away, lifting his axe and beginning his work. Each strike of the blade met the dry wood with a crisp, satisfying sound. He worked steadily, not rushing, letting the rhythm guide him. Chop, pause, chop, pause. The sound blended with the desert breeze until it felt like part of the landscape itself. Hours passed like this, slow, unhurried, peaceful. From time to time, Ali Baba rested beneath the shade of a scrub tree, wiping the sweat from his brow and letting his thoughts settle. He enjoyed these pauses, these quiet, suspended moments between tasks. In them, he felt the world expand gently around him, full of possibilities, yet free from demands. By midday, the sun had climbed high, casting a warm shimmer across the hills. Nami lay resting in the shade, chewing lazily on a patch of grass she had discovered. Ali Baba packed the wood he had gathered, securing it neatly against Nami's saddle. With the work nearly done, he decided to wander a bit farther into the hills, seeking a spot where the breeze brushed a little cooler. It was a small choice, one he made without thinking, that would shift the path of his life. Ali Baba followed a narrow trail that wound along the base of a rise where scattered clusters of rocks cast elongated shadows. The air felt different here, as though something older lingered beneath the surface. There was a stillness that went deeper than silence, a feeling that the land held secrets tucked gently beneath its sun-warmed skin. He breathed in slowly, letting the sensation settle. Nami brayed faintly behind him, uninterested in the detour but willing to follow. Her steady footfalls reassured him, reminding him that even in unfamiliar corners, he was not alone. As Ali Baba rounded a bend, the landscape opened unexpectedly before him. The ground dipped into a shallow hollow surrounded by stones shaped by time and wind. It was a peaceful, unassuming place, one he had passed before, though never so quietly, never with such attention. He stepped further into the hollow, drawn by curiosity rather than purpose. The air felt cooler here, slipping around him like a soft breath. Ali Baba stopped, listening. For a moment, all was still. Then he caught the faintest sound, distant, rhythmic, rising and falling like a tide of hoofbeats carried from far across the hills. He frowned gently. Travelers were not uncommon, but the sound held a weight to it, a unified pulse as though many hooves struck the ground in unison. Nami's ears twitched. She shifted her stance, sensing the distant stir of movement. Ali Baba did not feel fear, only curiosity, warm and steady as ever. Still, he knew the desert well enough to step with caution when the wind carried unusual sounds. He led Nami toward a cluster of tall rocks at the edge of the hollow and guided her behind them. She settled quietly, content to rest in the shade. Ali Baba climbed a small rise and crouched, peering out across the open land. In the far distance, a line of figures emerged, first just shifting shadows against the shimmering heat, then gradually the shapes of horses, their riders leaning forward as they moved with purpose through the desert. The sight was striking, almost mesmerizing. 40 riders moving as one, but Ali Baba felt no alarm. The desert held all sorts of travelers, merchants, caravans, even soldiers journeying to distant towns. These riders were swift, organized, but their presence stirred his curiosity more than his worry. He watched them draw nearer, their silhouettes sharp against the bright sand. They approached the very hollow where he now knelt, concealed by stone and shadow. Ali Baba held his breath, not from fear, but from an instinctive stillness, the way a person might quiet themselves to observe a rare bird landing nearby. The riders halted at the base of the hill, their horses stamping softly, exhaling plumes of warm air. The leader, a tall man draped in dark cloth, dismounted and stepped toward the large circle of rocks. Ali Baba leaned closer, listening with growing intrigue. The leader placed his hand upon a broad, weathered stone and spoke in a clear voice, one that resonated with an ancient weight. "Open, Sesame." The words drifted through the hollow like a gentle ripple in the air, and then, with a slow and deliberate movement, as though the earth itself were awakening, a section of stone slid aside, revealing a dark, yawning entrance beneath the hill. Ali Baba stared, wide-eyed, his breath caught in his throat, not from fear, but from awe. The world had shifted, quietly, profoundly. Yet the desert remained calm around him, making the moment feel dreamlike, as though he had stumbled upon a secret meant for no one, carried through centuries, resting patiently in the warm stillness of the land. Ali Baba sank deeper into the shadows, watching as the thieves, one by one, entered the cave, carrying sacks filled with unknown spoils. Their movements were purposeful but unhurried, like men accustomed to the ritual. The cave swallowed them in silence. Only the horses remained outside, flicking their tails, swishing away invisible flies. Ali Baba's pulse steadied. Curiosity, soft, steady, and impossible to ignore, guided his thoughts. What lay within that hidden place? What ancient whisper had he just witnessed? And what meaning might it hold for a humble woodcutter like him? The sun shifted overhead, casting new patterns across the stones. The desert remained still, as though holding its breath. Ali Baba waited. Something was about to begin. Ali Baba remained hidden behind the rocks, the desert sun warming his shoulders as he watched the hollow below with quiet anticipation. The air was still, save for the faint rustle of sand shifting under the horses' hooves. The animals stood calmly, as though accustomed to waiting beneath the open sky, their shadows lying long and slender across the ground. The silence that followed the thieves' entrance into the cavern was deep and enveloping. It seemed to settle around Ali Baba like a soft cloak, pressing gently against his senses. He could hear his own breathing, slow, steady, and the subtle creak of leather from Nami's saddle behind him. Even the wind, usually brushing softly over the hills, seemed to pause in curiosity. After some time, voices echoed from within the hidden cave. Low murmurs, indistinct but rhythmic. Then, one by one, the thieves emerged again, their arms laden with sacks now lighter than before. Their movements were smooth, practiced, as though they had performed this ritual more times than they could count. Ali Baba watched intently, noting the leader who stood near the entrance, scanning the horizon with measured calm. There was no sense of haste, no frantic scramble. Even in secrecy, their motions carried the unhurried confidence of those who believed the desert would keep their secrets safe. When the last of the thieves stepped into the light, the leader raised his hand once more, placing his palm upon the broad stone near the entrance. His voice rang out, deep and clear. "Close, Sesame." The stone responded with a slow, shifting sigh, sliding back into place until the cave entrance was sealed once more, hidden perfectly among the natural formations of the hill. If Ali Baba had not seen it with his own eyes, he would never have guessed anything lay beneath that smooth, sunlit surface. The thieves mounted their horses, the quiet creak of saddles and soft clop of hooves blending into the still air. Then, with a unified motion, they turned and rode away, their forms shrinking into distant silhouettes before dissolving into mirages shaped by heat and wind. Only when the last glimmer of movement faded from sight did Ali Baba step slowly from his hiding place. He approached the spot where the thieves had gathered moments before, Nami following behind with reluctant but obedient steps. The hollow seemed unchanged, calm and sunlit, as though it had not witnessed anything extraordinary at all. Only Ali Baba's wide eyes and quickening breath marked the shift in the air. He reached out, touching the surface of the great stone with tentative fingers. It was warm, textured, with grooves shaped by countless seasons of desert winds. He felt no trace of magic beneath his hand, only the quiet endurance of stone. Ali Baba swallowed softly, his curiosity stirred like a gentle wind at dusk. He looked around, ensuring the world was empty and quiet. Then, breath steady, voice low but clear, he whispered, "Open, Sesame." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the stone trembled faintly beneath his palm, a deep, almost imperceptible shift, like a sigh from the heart of the desert. Slowly, the great slab of rock slid aside once more, revealing the darkness hidden beneath. A cool breeze drifted from the opening, carrying with it a faint scent of earth long undisturbed. Ali Baba stepped closer, peering into the dimness. The air inside the cave felt different, ancient, still, yet strangely welcoming, like a deep breath held for centuries, finally being released. He hesitated only a moment before stepping inside. The cave was larger than he had imagined. As his eyes adjusted to the gloom, he saw shapes glimmering faintly, soft, muted lights reflecting off surfaces both smooth and rough. He stepped farther into the cavern, and as the shadows lifted, the sight before him unfolded like a dream. Mountains of treasure lay scattered across the floor, coins of gold and silver, jewels catching stray shafts of light, bolts of fine cloth stacked neatly against the walls. There were ornate vases, carved chests, and delicate trinkets shimmering with craftsmanship long forgotten. But the treasure did not feel overwhelming or garish. In the softened quiet of the cave, it glowed with a gentle radiance, muted and warm, like fireflies glowing softly in a still forest. Ali Baba's breath caught in wonder. He walked slowly among the heaps of treasure, touching nothing at first, letting his gaze travel over the remnants of countless journeys, countless stories. Each object seemed to hold a whisper of the hands that once carried it, the lands from which it came, the time it had traveled through to rest here in the heart of the hill. Nami, curious, poked her head into the cavern, her hooves clopping softly on the stone floor. Ali Baba smiled faintly and rested a hand on her muzzle. "What a place we've found, my old friend," he murmured. He did not think of riches or fortune. His heart did not leap with greed or ambition. Instead, he felt a quiet marvel, as though he had been allowed a glimpse into a secret chamber of the world, a place shaped by time and chance and whispered stories. Ali Baba paced slowly around the cavern, letting the cool air brush over his skin. He paused beside a chest, carved with intricate patterns, its lid slightly ajar, revealing coins gleaming like trapped sunlight. He reached in and scooped up a handful, the metal warm against his palm. The weight was unfamiliar, heavier than anything he had ever held. He took only a small bag's worth, just enough to ease his life without burdening his conscience. He tied it securely and placed it in Nami's saddlebag. As he turned back toward the entrance, he cast one last glance across the cave. Something about the scene struck him, not the treasure itself, but the stillness that wrapped around it. A stillness that felt older than the town, older than the hills, older perhaps than memory itself. He stepped into the sunlight once more, and the world felt brighter after the cool dimness of the cave. The stone slab waited patiently beside him. Placing his hand upon it, he whispered, "Close, Sesame." The cave sealed itself with a soft, trembling sigh, the stone sliding into place as though it had never moved. Ali Baba stood back and watched the rocks settle into stillness. His heart beat steadily, not with fear, but with quiet awe. The desert around him stretched calm and golden, Nami's soft bray blending into the warm air. He mounted her slowly, tying the bundle of wood more securely along with the small pouch of treasure. As they stepped away from the hollow, Ali Baba cast a final look over his shoulder, not out of fear of being followed, but in a gesture of gratitude, as though acknowledging the hidden heart of the hill for sharing its secret. The path home felt different now. The light seemed to shimmer more softly on the sand. The wind carried new whispers, gentle and warm. And Ali Baba, though he had taken only a modest amount of treasure, carried within him something far more valuable, a sense of wonder, a quiet joy, and the knowledge that he had glimpsed something extraordinary. As he walked, the desert scenery shifted with the sun's slow arc across the sky. Dunes cast long shadows, rocks glowed amber, and the world moved around him in a serene and unhurried rhythm. He felt as though he were walking through a dream, one shaped not by fantasy, but by the gentle magic woven into the everyday world. When the town's rooftops finally appeared in the distance, Ali Baba felt a calm warmth settle over him. Smoke drifted lazily from chimneys, and the scent of bread baking reached his senses. It was a scent that carried memories of family dinners, of laughter shared with neighbors, of ordinary joys that filled his simple life. As he entered the outskirts of town, villagers greeted him with familiar nods and soft smiles. They saw only the wood bundled neatly behind him, unaware of the secret tucked within his saddlebag. Yet, Ali Baba felt no urge to boast or reveal what he had found. He believed, quietly, that great secrets did not need loud voices to give them meaning. At home, he stored the wood for the coming days and carried the small pouch of gold inside. The coins clinked softly between his fingers, a sound that felt both strange and soothing. He tucked them away safely, intending to use them not for extravagance, but for comfort, for ease, for the gentle smoothing of life's small burdens. As evening settled over the town, Ali Baba sat beside the small window of his home, watching as the sky shifted from gold to blue, then to deep, star-studded indigo. The stars appeared slowly, one by one, like lanterns lit by invisible hands. Nami rested in her stall, her breathing soft and steady. The air carried the distant sounds of laughter, the low hum of night insects, the gentle clatter of pottery, as neighbors shared their final conversations of the day. Ali Baba closed his eyes, letting the peace of the moment wash over him. He felt gratitude, deep, quiet, steady, not just for the treasure, but for the calm of the desert, for the rhythm of his days, for the small wonders life offered to those who moved through the world with openness and humility. He did not yet know that the treasure he had found would stir ripples far beyond his peaceful home. He did not yet know that secrets, once touched, often carry responsibilities alongside their wonders. But for now, the world rested gently around him. The night held him in its cool embrace, and the stars shone down with soft, abiding light. Somewhere out in the hills the cave lay hidden once more, silent, patient, ancient, waiting for the next whisper of magic to stir its stone. But that moment had not yet come. For now, dear dreamer, the world remained calm. Ali Baba slept, and the desert held its breath beneath the silver-streaked sky. Days passed lightly after Ali Baba's discovery, drifting through the quiet rhythms of the town like soft wind weaving through palm fronds. Nothing seemed outwardly changed. Ali Baba continued his work, gathering wood with Nami, greeting neighbors with gentle smiles, tending to the simple needs of his home. Yet within him, something subtle had shifted. He moved through the world with a deeper appreciation for its mysteries, for the unseen layers resting beneath ordinary days. The memory of the cave lingered in his thoughts, not as temptation, but as wonder. A reminder that even the quietest life may stumble upon ancient secrets waiting patiently in the earth. Ali Baba used a small handful of the treasure to ease his life, repairing his modest home, purchasing better feed for Nami, and stocking his shelves with grain and dates. But he did so quietly, with a humble heart, never flaunting the change in his fortune. Still, even the softest ripple can travel far. Qasim, Ali Baba's brother, noticed the small improvements with curiosity. At first, he thought little of it. A new pot, a fresh coat of plaster on the outer wall. These were not extravagant changes. But Qasim was a man who believed wealth moves loudly, and he could not imagine riches that entered a life without announcing themselves. One morning, He visited Ali Baba, stepping through the doorway with the confidence of someone accustomed to comfort. Kasim wore a robe of fine weave, embroidered with golden thread that shimmered under the soft desert sun. Ali Baba greeted him warmly, offering him a seat and a cup of cool water drawn from his clay jar. Kasim accepted, his eyes wandering around the room. "You've made improvements," he said, voice casual but edged with curiosity. "Small ones," Ali Baba replied, with a gentle smile. "It felt time to mend what had grown worn." Kasim nodded slowly. His gaze lingered on the polished brass lamp hanging from a newly repaired beam. "Yes, small," he murmured, though a question stirred behind his eyes. "And how did you manage this, brother? A woodcutter's wages are modest, as you know." Ali Baba hesitated. He did not wish to lie, nor did he wish to reveal a secret that had been entrusted to him by chance and silence. He looked down at his hands, thinking carefully. The truth, when spoken, felt heavier than gold itself. "You are right," he began softly. "A woodcutter's life is simple, but sometimes—" His voice trailed off as he searched for the gentlest way to share the truth. "Sometimes fate brings unexpected blessings." Kasim leaned forward, eyes brightening with interest. "Blessings? What kind of blessings?" Ali Baba breathed slowly, the way he did when calming Nami before a long journey. He knew that once shared, the secret of the cave would no longer belong to him alone. He told Kasim everything, about the thieves, the magical words, the hidden cavern, and the treasure resting silently in its heart. But he spoke not with excitement or pride, but with a soft reverence, as though describing a dream that had unfolded beneath the open sky. Kasim's breath caught. His eyes widened with astonishment, then glittered with something sharper, quicker. "Treasure?" he whispered, leaning closer. "A cave full of treasure?" Ali Baba nodded. "But I took only a little," he said gently. "Enough to ease life's burdens." Kasim sat back, absorbing the tale. His thoughts, quick and restless, began to spin like desert dust caught in a sudden wind. Ali Baba saw the shift in his brother's expression, the tightening of his jaw, the glimmer of hunger ignited by possibility. A quiet weight settled in his chest. "Kasim," he said softly, "the cave. It is not a place for greed. It is a place of secrecy and danger if treated without care." But Kasim was already rising, his mind made up. "Show me the place," he insisted. "If such wealth exists, I must see it for myself." Ali Baba hesitated. The cave felt like something sacred to him, an ancient whisper he had honored with humility. Yet he loved his brother, and Kasim's request was not easy to refuse. He feared what might happen if Kasim sought the cave alone, driven by half-understood directions and restless ambition. So, with a quiet sigh, Ali Baba agreed. The next morning, before the sun had fully risen, the two brothers and Kasim's sturdy mule began the journey toward the hills. The sky was cool and pale, the desert still wrapped in the lingering hush of night. Kasim walked quickly, impatience guiding his steps, while Ali Baba moved with his usual calm, aware of the weight of what they were about to do. When they reached the hollow, Kasim's eyes widened at the unremarkable sight. "This is it?" he asked, disbelief ringing through his voice. Ali Baba nodded. "Not all wonders show themselves at once." He stepped forward, placed his hand upon the stone, and spoke in a low, even tone. "Open. Sesame." The stone shifted, revealing the cave's cool entrance just as it had before. Kasim gasped softly, awe flickering across his features, quickly overtaken by eagerness. Ali Baba watched with a pang of worry as Kasim hurried inside, his footsteps echoing through the cavern. The treasures within glowed softly in the dim light, and Qasim's breath quickened as he took in the sight. Far more treasure than he had imagined, each glittering surface stirring a sharp, exhilarating desire within him. Unlike Ali Baba, who had stepped lightly and with reverence, Qasim rushed from pile to pile, touching, lifting, gathering, as though afraid the cave might vanish before he could claim enough. Ali Baba stood by quietly, letting his brother explore. Yet beneath his calm exterior, unease settled like a slow-falling shadow. Qasim filled his bags quickly, far more than a single mule could comfortably carry. Gold coins spilled from his hands as he tried to gather more, his breath coming fast. At last, as the weight of his greed strained against the limits of his bags, Qasim prepared to leave. But when he turned toward the cave entrance, his mind, so full of numbers and riches and glittering visions, forgot the simple words that sealed the cave. He placed his hand on the stone, but no words came. His eyes widened. He tried again, stammering, guessing, grasping desperately for the words. "Open, Barley," he cried. The stone remained still. "Open! Sand! Open! Stone!" Nothing. The cool air of the cave seemed to still further, pressing against him with heavy silence. Ali Baba's heart tightened as he watched his brother struggle. Qasim's face paled, his breath growing uneven, panic rising within him like a tide. The magical words had slipped, through his grasp like water cupped in trembling hands. "Close, Sesame!" he shouted in desperation, but the stone stayed immovable. Ali Baba stepped forward, placing a gentle hand on Qasim's arm. "Brother," he said softly, "calm your thoughts. Panic clouds the mind. Breathe, Qasim, slowly." Qasim's breath came in ragged gasps. He closed his eyes, forcing himself to pause, though fear quivered beneath the surface of his composure. Ali Baba spoke the words with steady calm. "Open, Sesame." The stone shifted once more, sliding aside with its familiar sigh. The desert light streamed into the cavern, softening the shadows. Qasim stumbled out, trembling. His bags strained at their seams, heavy with the weight he had insisted on gathering. Ali Baba followed him into the sunlight, relief washing through him like a cool breeze. But this moment, this crack in Qasim's composure, did not end the story. Instead, it rippled outward, drawing unseen trouble toward the brothers' lives. For when the thieves returned later that day, they found signs that someone had entered the cave. Coins shifted, footprints in the dust, a faint scent of unfamiliar presence. Their leader examined the ground with a quiet, methodical intensity. "Someone has been here," he murmured. The thieves exchanged dark glances, though even their tension was softened in this telling, like storm clouds far off on the horizon. Meanwhile, back in town, one person noticed Qasim's unusual distress that morning. Morgiana. Morgiana was Qasim's servant, though far more perceptive and capable than her role suggested. She possessed a quiet intelligence that saw beyond surface concerns, a gift for recognizing when something was amiss through subtle shifts in expression or tone. When Qasim returned home that afternoon, weighed down not only by treasure but by the aftershocks of fear, Morgiana saw the tremor in his hands and the unease in his eyes. She approached him gently. "Master," she said, her voice steady as a grounded wind, "you seem troubled. Can I assist you?" Qasim shook his head, dismissing her with a wave, but Morgiana's intuition lingered. She helped unload the heavy sacks, noting the gleam of gold and precious gems spilling from their seams. Her breath caught briefly, though she masked her surprise with practiced calm. Something had shifted in her household, something larger than she yet understood. That night, as lamps glowed softly in Kasim's home and shadows deepened along the walls. Morgiana listened as faint sounds outside broke the quiet. A distant rustle, a muffled step, the soft scrape of jars in the courtyard. Her instincts sharpened. Moving silently, she peered through a crack in the door and noticed large oil jars arranged strangely. Their lids closed tight, and yet something inside them stirred, ever so faintly. A chill spread through her, but she remained composed. She knelt beside one jar and tapped its side lightly. "A.E." whisper responded from within, a whisper far too large to be oil shifting in its container. Morgiana stepped back, her breath steady, her mind racing gently but clearly. She understood then. Danger had followed Kasim home. But she also understood something deeper, something that lived beneath her courage. The belief that every life she protected, every kindness she offered, was a thread in the fabric of the world's quiet harmony. With calm determination, Morgiana set her plan into motion. She acted not with panic, but with wisdom born of long observation. Her movements were precise, her thoughts unclouded. She protected the home that had sheltered her. She protected Kasim. And in doing so, she altered the direction of the story once more. The thieves, realizing their trap had been detected, slipped away into the shadows, their intentions unresolved, but momentarily halted. And so the threads of danger and safety wove themselves delicately through the night. Morgiana extinguished the last lamp, her silhouette framed in the cool glow of moonlight. The household settled into uneasy slumber, Kasim restless, Ali Baba unaware, and Morgiana keeping silent vigil over the fragile peace she had preserved. Outside, the desert wind carried whispers through the palm branches, brushing against the rooftops of the sleeping town like a gentle warning. The story was shifting again. The thieves were not finished, but neither was the quiet courage that lived in Morgiana's heart. For several days after Morgiana's quiet intervention, the town seemed to drift through its routines with an undercurrent of subtle tension. Life continued. Bread baked in ovens, merchants called softly from behind their stalls, children played beneath the shade of the date palms. But something in the air carried a faint tremble, like a whispered warning riding the desert breeze. Ali Baba felt it before he understood it. He noticed Kasim's unease first, the way his brother lingered in silence during meals, the way his gaze wandered toward the hills with a mixture of fear and regret. Kasim's newfound wealth brought him no peace. Instead, the burden of what he had taken and how he had taken it pressed upon him like a shadow that would not lift. Morgiana, too, moved with sharper awareness, though she maintained her serene composure. She kept a close watch on the courtyard, listened to the quiet between footsteps, and took note of unfamiliar shapes that appeared in the edges of lantern light at dusk. She said nothing of the oil jars she had investigated, nothing of the danger she had sensed. Silence, she believed, was sometimes the safest path through uncertain nights. But danger, once stirred, tends to circle back on quiet feet. One warm evening, as the sun melted into hues of amber and rose, Ali Baba visited Kasim. He found his brother pacing in the courtyard, lanterns flickering beside him, their light dancing across scattered tiles. "Kasim," Ali Baba greeted, softly stepping into the warm glow. Kasim turned, relief washing over his features. "Ali Baba," he breathed. I feared they might return." Ali Baba frowned gently. "Who?" Kasim hesitated, then confessed in a low whisper everything he remembered. The shadows in the jars, the feeling of being watched, the uncertainty lurking beyond his doors. Ali Baba listened with steady calm. Beneath his concern for his brother stirred a deeper worry. The cave, The thieves, the secret he had stumbled upon without meaning to disturb its old stillness. "You must not return to the cave," Ali Baba said softly. "Greed clouds judgment and fear follows in its path. Let what remains in that hill lie untouched." Kasim lowered his gaze, shame flickering across his features. "I know," he murmured. "I was foolish." Ali Baba placed a warm hand on his shoulder, a gesture of forgiveness. "We all make choices we must grow from," he said. "What matters is what we do next." Their conversation drifted like smoke from a gentle fire, soft, lingering. And by the time Ali Baba left, the moon was rising over the rooftops, casting pale silver across the quiet streets. But elsewhere, under that same moonlight, the thieves were gathering. Their leader, a man both cunning and patient, stood upon a dune overlooking the town. He had traced the faint footprints left near the hollow, observed the signs of intrusion, and followed the trail with the persistence of a desert predator. He spoke little to his men. The night carried enough weight without words. They watched the town with intent, their forms blending into the shifting shadows of the dunes. They had not come for treasure, for the desert offered treasure in abundance to those who knew where to look. They had come for the one who had discovered their secret. But night in the desert is vast, and intentions, no matter how sharp, often dull beneath the lull of wind and starlight. As the thieves approached the outskirts of the town, moving like whispers through the dimness, Morgiana sensed something again. She felt it as one feels the change in weather, a heaviness, a closeness, a subtle shift in the quality of silence. She stepped quietly into the courtyard, lantern in hand, the flame flickering gently inside its glass. The tiles beneath her feet were cool, reflecting the pale shimmer of the moon. She closed her eyes, listening. In the stillness, she heard the soft scrape of feet where none should be, the faint, measured breathing of men moving through the night. Morgiana opened her eyes. With calm precision, she snuffed the lantern, letting darkness settle around her like a protective cloak. She moved through the house, waking the guards Kasim employed for such uneasy nights. She spoke to them in low, steady tones, sharing only what was necessary. Panic had no place in her voice. Fear had no hold on her hands. When the thieves entered the courtyard, expecting an unguarded night, they found resistance, not fierce or violent, but firm and calculated, guided by Morgiana's keen intuition. The confrontation unfolded in shadows and soft footfalls, in quiet commands and swift, controlled movements. The thieves, startled by the preparedness of the household, withdrew with more haste than pride. They vanished into the night like startled birds, leaving behind only the echo of their footsteps fading into the dunes. The leader, however, lingered. From a distance, he watched the house with narrowed eyes. He admired, though he would not admit it, the cleverness behind the household's defense. It was not brute strength that had met his men. It was foresight, subtle and precise. He studied the pattern of lights returning to the home, the silhouettes moving behind windows, and as dawn approached, washing the dunes in pale gold, he made a decision. This was no ordinary household, and whoever had discovered the cave was no ordinary man. He would need a new plan. For several days after the attempted intrusion, life in the town resumed its quiet rhythm, though Kasim remained unsettled. He often sought Morgiana's counsel, for her calm presence soothed his troubled thoughts. Ali Baba visited frequently as well, offering comfort and helping strengthen the household's security without causing alarm. During one visit, Ali Baba met Morgiana properly for the first time. She stood in the courtyard, the morning sun warming her face, her hands busy grinding spices in a clay bowl. Morgiana, he greeted gently, bowing his head. Kasim has spoken of your wisdom. I wish to thank you for keeping him safe. She paused, lifting her gaze to meet his. Her eyes were steady, reflective, holding the quiet strength of someone who moved through the world with clarity. I only did what the moment required, she said softly. Fear grows where silence hides truth. I chose to listen to what the house was telling me. Ali Baba smiled. A wise heart can hear what others overlook. Morgiana dipped her head modestly, returning to her work. Yet something in Ali Baba's voice, his gratitude, his calm sincerity, lingered like warmth upon the morning air. Despite their vigilance, trouble did not leave them easily. A week later, a traveling merchant arrived in town. He brought spices and tinkering tools, colorful fabrics, and small mechanical toys. He set up a stall near the marketplace, greeting villagers with a charming smile and warm laughter. But Morgiana noticed him immediately. There was something too deliberate in his friendliness, something too careful in the way his gaze swept over the streets. His hands, though he played the part of a merchant, moved with the fluid confidence of someone accustomed to wielding more than simple goods. She watched him discreetly as she purchased herbs for Kasim's household. His eyes flickered to her once, sharp, assessing, before sliding away with practiced ease. That night, she sat beside Kasim as he sorted through his accounts, the lantern's glow resting warmly on their faces. There is a man in the marketplace, she said softly. He greets all with smiles, yet his eyes speak of purpose. Kasim stiffened. The thieves? I cannot be certain, Morgiana replied. But the desert rarely sends strangers without reason. Ali Baba was summoned, and the three of them discussed the matter quietly in the fading light of evening. Together, they formed a plan, not one of confrontation, but of caution, patience, and careful observation. And soon, their suspicions proved true. One evening, as the sky deepened into the blue of approaching night, Morgiana observed the merchant slipping into a narrow alley rather than closing his stall as usual. She followed him at a distance, moving silently along the shadows. The merchant stopped before a familiar house, Kasim's. His footsteps were soft, almost respectful, as though approaching a threshold he intended to cross without invitation. But Morgiana was quicker. She stepped forward, her presence calm, yet unmistakable. The merchant turned, caught in the silver light of the rising moon. Their eyes met. In that moment, both understood the truth. The merchant smiled faintly, admiration flickering beneath his disguise. You are clever, he said softly. And you, Morgiana replied, are searching for something you will not find here. The man's gaze lingered on her a moment longer before he stepped back into the shadows, disappearing with the fluid ease of someone accustomed to the desert's secret paths. He had not attacked. He had not threatened. But his presence carried a promise that the story was not yet finished. Morgiana exhaled slowly. The night felt lighter somehow, as if acknowledging her courage. The following day, Ali Baba came to Kasim's house, carrying with him a basket of figs and warm bread from the baker. Together, they shared a quiet meal in the courtyard, the air scented with mint and roasted grains. Kasim's anxiety had softened, replaced by a reflective sadness. He gazed at his brother with eyes that held regret. Ali Baba, he said quietly, my choices have brought danger to all of us. I cannot undo what I have done, but I can change the path ahead. Ali Baba placed a supportive hand on his brother's arm. Growth begins where regret ends. What matters is that we move forward with wisdom. Morgiana approached then, carrying a jug of cool water. She poured for them without a word, her movements practiced and graceful. Ali Baba turned to her. Your guidance has protected us more than you know, Morgiana. You have faced every moment with calm and clarity. Morgiana bowed her head modestly. The world speaks to those who listen, she said, and each life I guard becomes part of my own story. Ali Baba's expression softened. Then allow us to be grateful characters in yours. The three shared a quiet moment, the desert wind stirring gently through the courtyard, carrying with it the first hints of evening. Above them, the sky shifted into soft shades of lavender. The day was ending, but the story still breathed. Beyond the town, the thieves had retreated deeper into their desert hideouts. Their leader, though hidden from sight, had not forgotten the household that had outwitted him. He weighed his next steps carefully, knowing that brute force would no longer serve him. The desert rewarded patience, and so he would wait. But for now, the town remained steeped in its familiar rhythm, wrapped in the warmth of afternoon light and the gentle cadence of whispered prayers drifting from open windows. Ali Baba walked home through streets bathed in fading gold, the quiet of dusk settling like a soft cloth over his shoulders. He felt the weight of responsibility in his chest, but he also felt something deeper, a growing respect for Morgiana, whose wisdom had steadied their lives like a guiding star. In the distance, the hills glowed beneath the last rays of sunlight, their shapes blurred by heat and memory. The cave slept once more, holding its secrets close, and night, patient and calm, prepared to unfold across the desert. And now, dear dreamer, as our story settles into its quiet conclusion, let the world around you soften once more. The tale of Ali Baba, of secrets whispered through desert winds and courage carried in calm hearts, drifts into its final, gentle moments. Night has fully embraced the valley. The desert lies cool and vast beneath a canopy of stars that shimmer like scattered lanterns across an endless sky. Each one glows softly, patiently, as though keeping watch over every sleeping soul below. Ali Baba sits outside his modest home, listening to the hush of wind sliding over the sand. The town around him has fallen into peaceful slumber, doors closed, lamps extinguished, courtyards resting in silver moonlight. The world feels tender, held in the lull of night's stillness. He breathes in the calm, feeling the rhythm of his life settle back into place. Though danger had brushed against him and his family, though secrets had stirred where none were meant to be found, the journey had led him to something precious: understanding, gratitude, and the quiet wisdom that grows like roots beneath the surface of the soul. In the distance, Kasim sleeps more peacefully than he has in many nights. His heart, once tangled with longing and fear, has begun to unravel its knots. And Morgiana, steady, perceptive Morgiana, rests with a lightness she has earned through her strength and the quiet bravery that shaped the path of all three lives. The desert, too, seems to breathe easier tonight. Its dunes rise and fall like gentle waves frozen in time, catching the moonlight in soft, silver curves. Somewhere far away, the thieves, those wandering shadows of the story, have retreated into the vastness. Their presence fades like footprints slowly, erased by shifting sands. The world is at rest, and so, dear dreamer, may you rest with it. Let your breath slow, deep and steady, like the tide of desert wind brushing over endless dunes. Feel the weight of the day melt from your shoulders, drifting away like grains of sand carried into the night. Let your thoughts loosen, one by one. Imagine yourself sitting where Ali Baba sits now, beneath an open sky that stretches wider than worry, brighter than fear. Above you, stars shimmer softly, patient as old stories. Around you, the night hums with a quiet that holds every sound gently, tenderly. In this place, nothing is hurried, nothing is expected, nothing presses against your heart. Here, in the calm of the desert night, every breath is a small blessing. Every exhale carries a little more of the day away. Every inhale draws in cool, soothing peace. If a thought arises, let it drift past like a cloud crossing a still horizon. If a memory flickers, let it fade, the way lanterns dim at dawn. If tension lingers in your body, let it soften, unwinding slowly, easily, naturally. Ali Baba closes his eyes, feeling the quiet settle inside him. The night wraps around him like a soft cloak. His worries loosen, carried away by the same breeze that rustles through the palms. And as he leans back, gazing at the silver glow of the moon, a gentle understanding fills him. That life, with all its twists and secrets, finds its deepest meaning in moments of stillness, in gratitude, in the soft strength of a peaceful heart. Let that understanding settle in you as well. Allow your breath to deepen. Allow your thoughts to quiet. Allow the gentle rhythm of this story to guide you toward rest. The desert wind grows softer now, as though whispering directly to you, carrying with it the lullaby of distant dunes, the hush of sleeping village rooftops, the gentle sigh of the world at ease. And you, dear dreamer, are part of that ease. Let the stars above hold your thoughts. Let the earth beneath cradle your body. Let the night surround you with its quiet, endless embrace. Sleep comes slowly here, the way dawn spreads across the horizon, soft, warm, unhurried. Let it approach like a gentle tide, rising within you, filling your limbs with heaviness and peace. Feel your eyelids grow soft. Feel your breath drift into a soothing cadence. Feel the sweetness of rest drawing near. Ali Baba, at last, rises from his place and steps inside, closing his door with a quiet thud that melts into the night. His home glows faintly with the last warmth of the day. Soon, he too will rest, the desert watching over him just as it watches over you now. And as the final traces of wakefulness fade, the world whispers to you one last time, not in words, but in feeling. You are safe. You are held. You are drifting gently, effortlessly, into deep and peaceful sleep. Rest well, dear dreamer. May your dreams be soft as shifting sand, calm as starlit skies, and warm as the quiet wind that carries every story home.